Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your December 2020 mid-month general reading. We are looking at the last 2 weeks of December, and this reading is for the water sign of Cancer, our lovely crabs. Welcome everyone. I hope you're all safe and well. Thanks for taking the time to tune in to this channel, this video, and I hope everyone is transitioning nicely into the holiday season. And ahead of time, I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, a better New Year. So, this reading is for Sagittarius. Sorry, not Sagittarius, for Cancer. Just did Sagittarius. For Cancer for the last 2 weeks of December 2020. That's Cancer Sun, Moon, Rising. If your Venus is in Cancer, if you're cross-watching for a Cancerian, it's all relevant. But of course, will resonate a little differently for everyone. It is a general reading. So watch all of your signs if you know them for additional insight and perspective. If any of the readings do resonate with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading for yourself or as a holiday gift for friends, family, and loved ones, just click on the description link below. Click on the little arrow. You'll see it pull down my email address, maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. Please feel free to email me directly. I can usually respond with more info within the same day. Personal readings do make great holiday gifts. Well, they make great gifts at any time. There's nothing more personal than a personal reading. But especially during the holiday season, and especially now, they're quite safe. You don't have to leave your home to either give or receive them. So also popular this time of year, in addition to the wide variety of readings that I offer. I also do 6 and 12-month overviews, Cancer, which take a look at what's coming in your life for the next 6 or 12 months in all the main areas. And a lot of people like to order those as we're transitioning out of one year and into a new one, so something else to think about. I do readings full time, so I'm pretty diligent at setting up those personal readings in as timely a fashion as possible. Okay, let's move right into this reading for Cancer for the last 2 weeks of December. I am using the Tarot of Dreams for those of you who want to know, and clarifying with the Gilded Tarot. So Cancer, we begin with a little bit of conflict with the Five of Wands, followed by the Four of Coins, the Wheel, followed by the Six of Wands, the Four of Swords, followed by the Nine of Cups, and from the bottom of the deck, the overall energy and focus is the King of Wands. Interesting, right behind that is the Emperor. Also Aries energy, might be that some of you are dealing with an Aries, a fire sign of some kind. Because I feel like this King of Wands, which is your general focus or where your energy is centered on the most during the last 2 weeks of December, Cancer, is the King of Wands. And I feel like this is an actual person external in your environment, or somebody who's significant to you during this time period. But there's conflict with the Five of Wands, and this can represent petty conflict, but it can also represent endless conflict, the same argument over and over and over again, competitive energy, wanting to have the last word, fighting over the same thing over and over again. And what clarifies the nature of that conflict is the Four of Coins, which is a card of withholding, of holding back, of holding on to whatever makes you feel safe and secure, whether it's money, finances, emotions, emotional caring, or signs of caring, or a combination of all of those things. So there's some kind of conflict which is ongoing and which probably has been in place for quite some time over somebody continuously withholding or being stingy. And it might be, again, with their financial or material resources. It might be with their emotions or how they emotionally present or give to you. It might be them fighting with you about you doing that, or it might be you fighting with them about them doing that. And the conflict might be external in terms of argument. It might be internal, or inside yourself, or some version of that. But it's about someone not giving enough to the other person. And the nature of the relationship you have with this King of Wands can vary. It might be a love romance relationship, it might be a friend, it might be a family member, it might be a father, it might be a work individual or boss or supervisor. They are showing up as a king, which could represent their chronological age, or their status. But then this is interesting. We have the wheel with the Six of Wands. The wheel, divine timing and orchestration. In the upright position, it does imply good luck or good fortune, or what seems obviously like good luck or good fortune. It could actually represent money. And with it is the Six of Wands, which represents victory and triumph, and being recognized. If this was a work situation, this would be like receiving accolades, praises, bonus, promotion. It could represent winning some money. It could represent it. Fundamentally, the wheel represents complete divine timing and orchestration. God, spirit, angels, and guides really working within this to bring things together in the right way at the right time from their perspective, whether it's our perspective or not. They're always working towards our greater good. We just can't see the whole plan, right? So divine timing and orchestration to bring you to victory. But it might be as simple as during the last 2 weeks of December, you may, find yourself unexpectedly coming into some money or winning something. Again, if it relates to work, perhaps there's been some conflict over who gets what and what's been withheld from you, and all of a sudden, boom, you get it just in time for, the holidays. Could be that as well. The wheel is next to the Five of Wands, so it might be that this conflict is being brought up again as a way of forcing you to address something that will lead to your being victorious a little ways down the road. I mean, it could be that for some of you. And then we have the Four of Swords and the Nine of Cups, which is interesting because the Four of Swords is a card that typically represents a temporary withdrawal or retreat from a conflict or a battle of some kind. Temporary because you need to go back and deal with it, but for the time being, you're feeling a bit worn out, exhausted, you're taking a step back, you're resting, recuperating, recovering, getting a different perspective, and getting some advice and guidance. And clarifying that is the Nine of Cups, which is the wish fulfillment, getting everything you want. Careful of that. It may turn out to be not exactly what you thought it was. Always that cautionary bit with the Nine of Cups. The wish fulfillment card, the card of abundance. It can represent doing the things that just feel pleasurable and good to you. There is a social energy to this. There can be. So what you may be withdrawing from could be social get-togethers. I mean, we're all pretty restricted right now. So the top row of cards, as I lay them out here in my own individual spread, represents what's on the surface, what you can see, what is obvious and visible. And the cards underneath it represent the underlying energy. So the cards on top are conflict with the Five of Wands, divine timing and orchestration with the Wheel of Fortune, and then withdrawing from that conflict with the Four of Swords. And of course, there's some kind of connection or relationship with this King of Wands individual. And underneath that, there's conflict about not getting what the argument of the conflict is that something is being withheld from you or you're withholding from someone else. But for most of you, it's likely feeling that something's being withheld from you by this King of Wands, and it's an ongoing conflict about that. But divine timing and orchestration is working here to bring you some kind of success in this situation through some means. We'll clarify that. But it can also represent you getting what you want as well. I mean, you're getting some kind of bonus or money or win or promotion or, again, some kind of unexpected. I mean, because the Wheel of Fortune with the Six of Wands is like, dropping your dollar into the slot machine and you win $1,000. I mean, that's sort of what it implies just by looking at it. And then we have this withdrawal either from being social or from this hedonistic, more than enough to eat and drink and socializing and making merry, Or for some of you, it could be the opposite. It could be you're withdrawing in order to do the things that make you just feel viscerally very good. You might be taking some time to contemplate whatever it is that has just come in, which looks like a win for you. So interesting. Let's clarify some of this. Let's clarify the King of Wands. We have the Six of Pentacles, often looked at as the crumb card, getting only crumbs. On its surface, it can represent giving and receiving. It can represent being, in a philanthropic position, being in a position to give to somebody who's needy, or if you're the needy person, receiving from someone who's in the position to give. But it can also represent an unevenness in relationships as well, because one person, the person on the top who has all this wealth, they're in a position to be able to give, and they're periodically tossing, a little bit out the window to what usually appears as needy people, waiting, grasping, needy hands here. But they're sort of objectified because they don't show the person or the people, they just show the hands that are grasping, and the person who's periodically throwing these pentacles or crumbs out the window, which could represent money, finances, resources, emotional giving. He's not even looking at who it's giving it to. So looking at where they're going, or if they're even going in the same place. So it can represent, and again, it looks like that's the conflict, an ongoing conflict that somebody only gives when they feel it suits them, or gives when they think about it, and that's just not enough for you. Clarify the Five of Wands and the Four of Coins. I mean, we kind of already know what the conflict is, but let's pull a card for it. Clarify the Four of Coins. The Ten of Wands. The being at the end of a cycle that's become very heavy and burdensome. The Fool right behind it, needing to make a start in a new direction, go on a totally different path. So this is clarifying the Five of Wands, the conflict, and the Four of Coins. Withholding, you're always withholding things. You never give out very much, only when you feel like it. It can represent feeling irrelevant, really, in the eyes of a person that you feel you should be more important to, whether they're a lover or a husband or a friend or a boss or whatever. And you're sick of it. It's like needs to come to an end so you can start off on a new path. It feels like you sort of, there may be an argument, a conversation, which might be, quite heated, where you just put your cards on the table, or they put their cards on the table and say, I'm tired of this. I need to start over. I need to go in a new direction. This is not working for me at all. Interesting. The next card at the bottom was the Six of Wands. And we do have the Six of Wands there. Okay, let's clarify the Wheel. And a card just fell out. The Four of Pentacles. So that's a repeating card. We have that twice. We have the Four of Coins and the Four of Pentacles, same card, two different decks. It's a card of withholding. So it might be that divine timing and orchestration is allowing this to happen so that it can provoke this conflict and conversation, or even argument. I mean, conflict is typically what precedes change anyway, which is what the number 5 cards mean in the tarot. They can represent conflict, which is opportunity for change. The conflict is about, somebody holding on, somebody not sharing. whatever that sharing is, finances, material stuff, resources, love, a combination of all of those things. And I feel here that Spirit is actually, allowing this in order to promote change. And also timing being a factor here. Let me clarify the Six of Wands. The Moon and the Two of Cups. So yeah, it is a partnership of some kind, whether it's best friends or a traditional romantic soulmate. There's a lack of certainty. There's some hidden fears, maybe some unrealistic fears, a lack of certainty about what you view as a soulmate relationship. However, it's clarifying a card of victory. Pulled one more card, Justice, which is the reap what you sow card. What you get is typically pretty dependent on the effort you put into something. It feels like you're giving someone kind of their comeuppance, kind of a, come to Jesus sort of meeting, or someone is giving you what they feel is your just due. Because it feels like there's this, old conflict between you and this other person, this King of Wands. And the conflict is somebody giving more and somebody taking, or somebody not getting what they feel they need because somebody is just always withholding and putting them in a position of need, or making them feel needy, or making them feel grateful for every little bit they get. And it feels like there's some kind of, argument, discussion, fight about it, that Spirit is actually sort of allowing these things, if not orchestrating them, to come into place, so that there can be an addressing of this, a balancing out of this, regardless of how that's done. Because Justice represents making something karmically fair and even, bringing things back into balance which were previously out of balance. So this imbalance in giving and receiving, and somebody really being so protective and guarded that even in situations where it's expected and essential that they give, they're not. And it feels like that's being addressed here. And that actually in some way is leading to victory for you within a soulmate relationship, even though you may not be able to see it at this time. It's underlying energy, because this could represent a couple of different things. It could represent that as a result of this, it produces change in the person, which produces change in the relationship in a positive way. Or it could be that as a result of this, you make the decision to say, look, this either has to move forward in this way to be healthy, or we need to move our separate ways. And that's actually doing that puts you in a place of freedom where Spirit can then bring in your real soulmate, if this isn't the one. It's just that you can't see it right now. It's really, Cancer, about making a decision that you feel is actually the right decision, that the decision that you're called to make things right, to make things good, to make things even. Whether that's admitting you're wrong in a situation to address a rebalance of something, or whether you're on the end of being on the outside, you're not being given to, and you keep getting breadcrumbed. And making it right would actually be making a decision to tell the person, look, either this needs to change now or I'm leaving now, which puts things back into balance and puts you on a path where then you are open to receiving what it is that is your match and your equal. It's kind of like you're being called to do the right thing here, that you know to do, even though you can't see the outcome, and you may be worried about the outcome, but you know what's the right thing to do, and it's about doing that. And then we have this sort of retreat from Four of Swords, which is temporary withdrawal from or to this wish fulfillment. Clarify the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is often taking a breathing space for yourself and getting a different perspective while you're recuperating, because making a decision while you're in the throes of conflict is not a great idea either. The King of Swords, yeah. The King of Swords is the king of truth, insight, clarity, discernment. He's sitting on his throne, holding onto his sword, which is symbolic for truth and light and justice, basically. His feet are resting in the light of that. And he looks like he's just about ready to stand up and deliver his judgment, kind of ultimatum or whatever that is, based on what he sees as the absolute truth and reality of a situation. So perhaps it's taking a step back to take a look at that so that you can make the best decision. Clarify the Nine of Cups. You know, it's interesting because I feel like for many of you, just like with your sister sign Scorpio and the air sign Libra, because there's a similar theme here, I feel like this wish fulfillment, you know, it's getting what you want, your cups overflowing. It's the Nine of Cups, but it's not the Ten of Cups, which is the absolute fulfillment, home, happiness, marriage, blessings. This is more of a hedonistic, let's enjoy what we have now because it's so abundant, you know, and not think about tomorrow. And the interesting thing is that it feels like a lot of you are withdrawing from this, the Four of Swords. Why is that? Because you're trying to be the King of Swords. You're trying to be absolutely discerning and practical about this. So this Nine of Cups is probably what's being offered by the King of Wands. It's, you know, perhaps somebody coming back around yet again, and you know you're going to have fun while you're with them, but then there's all this other stuff that you no longer want to ignore. So you're trying to be smart about that. You're withdrawing for a bit, just like I think it was Scorpio, or it could have been Libra, having a time period where you're stepping back and you're trying to figure out how to deal with this and how not to go back into the cycle or continue that cycle. Clarify the Nine of Cups. And if you maintain the King of Swords, you won't go back into this, even if it's difficult, even if it's hard, even if it means having to leave this person behind. Because if you're always going to be waiting and grasping for whatever crumbs you can get, that's not the kind of relationship Spirit wants you to be in, regardless of the nature of the relationship. So that means that this person is not that one. You know, not that there's only one great partner in the world for you, but this one wouldn't be it if they're not willing to kind of change and accommodate together with you, if that makes sense. The Four of Cups. Yeah, something's being offered, but somebody, probably you're not really sure if you want to take it or not. You're not sure. You know, you have Three Cups. You do have some kind of stability within yourself or around you, and so you're not sure if you want this one that's being offered to you, because even though it looks really good, it's the Nine of Cups, it's not the Ten of Cups, and maybe you want that Ten of Cups. Maybe you want the complete fulfillment of, you know, the suit of emotions and love and marriage and home and all of that kind of stuff, you know, or whatever the Ten of Cups would be for you. This isn't it. It's the Nine of Cups. It's nice, it's fun, but it will end. You may not take this offer, because the King of Wands is making an offer, but he's not even looking at you. He's just throwing out a few pentacles because he's got plenty, right? You're not sharing in those. He's not bringing you in and making you part of that. Hence the conflict. And you're like, you know, I'm just like tired of this. Even though I can't see down the road, I need to do what's right. May just say no. But you are definitely, which is Spirit supported, taking the time to think very clearly and ask, God, Spirit, your angels and guides for discernment to make the best decision here, to make a decision that fits in with justice and the King of Swords. What will bring, imbalanced energy into alignment, whether that means within this connection or relationship, or whether that's bringing things into balance in your own personal life by separating yourself from them. My hair. That's what it means. I'm not sure if I think some of you might make this decision now. You might like set an ultimatum now. Some of you may not make this until, the first part of next year. But it feels like it's coming. So, Cancer, that is your reading for the last half of December. I hope that you found it useful. Again, if you're interested in reaching out for a personal reading for yourself or as a gift for someone else, feel free to email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. You can see that by clicking on the description link. I will see you all in a couple of weeks for the very first reading, general readings of the new year 2021, hopefully a better year. This one has been quite challenging for just about everyone. In the meantime, I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay safe and well. Be blessed. I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.